Okay. Having some technical difficulties, but I think we're up now. Breland, try joining on Zoom now. There was a mix-up with the meeting settings, but it should be working now.
You want us to do a mic check?
No, there was somehow Zoom had created multiple meetings, and for this same event, so some people were not able to join. Okay, Breland, try it now. I just put the link to the Zoom in the chat. Try and see if it'll give you access now. Hmm. I don't know why it's doing that. Bernard, did it ask you to log in to FIU or anything when you tried to when you entered the stream, the Zoom?
No, when I logged in earlier, it just took me to the class, but I was the only one in it, and then it said meeting ended by host, which I figured was you. So it just took me to a session there where I was by myself. I didn't know if you were on previously, so I don't know if I beat you to it because it was right around 12.
Well, Braylon, I'm not sure.
Maybe he's clicking on the wrong thing.
Braylon, I'm not sure what the issue is for you. But it seems like everyone else is able to access the Zoom. Or, well, I don't know, is everyone else able to access it? And let's try clicking on the link. Anyway. As we try and figure that out, let's go ahead and start today's open discussion. Oh, there you are, Braylon. Welcome. A little bit technical difficulties, but I think we're okay now. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
Hope you're all doing well. Today's an open discussion, continuation from last week. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or if you're joining us on Zoom, you can use the raise hand feature. Actually, I almost forgot to do our opening prayer. So let me go ahead and post that up. All right. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, would defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. Okay. All right, so once again, welcome. Hope everything's working properly now. If we can hear and see us, all right. Again, today's class is an open discussion. So feel free to ask any questions you may have. We'll also pick up where we left off last week, our study of the handouts. And I know I forgot to upload that glossary, or did I? I don't remember if I did or not. I probably didn't if I don't remember. We'll be continuing in our study of the diagrams. Last time we looked at took another look at the chakra system, and it would probably help if you guys could see what I'm looking at. So let me put that up too. Last week we took a look at the chakras as vortex centers of consciousness and power. And we made our way through a good portion of this handout. I think today we'll take a look at the table at the bottom. Hopefully you've all had a chance to review this handout, which is entitled as Additional Diagrams in the Shared Folder. And by the way, the link to the shared folder is included in every Meetup announcement as well as in the email announcement that we send out a couple of days before class. So if you don't have the link or don't have access to the shared folder, that means you're not on our Meetup or you're not on our email list. So try to get on that as soon as possible so you will not miss any announcements or resources that we make available. So do we have any questions so far? Is everyone able to hear and see me okay? Okay, thank you, Lisa. Okay, great. Any questions? All right, so there are no questions. You guys have everything answered, and you have all the information and knowledge you need, so we can go ahead and close out early today. I'm sure that's not the case. Or I can just go into the handouts. And you can ask your questions as we go along. Let's see. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, a question so far. What does one experience when Kundalini awakens?
Well, it's a primary power, and when it takes a while to awaken Kundalini, number one, and it takes much preparation. And if you are fortunate to raise it, you move into a conscious state of death, as I tell people, and all the masters describe it this way too, that you as you raise the Kundalini, you move Kundalini from one part of the body and enlarge it into the Sushumna, the center of the Sushumna, which is the Brahma Nati. And as you do that, everywhere you remove Kundalini, the body goes into a dormant, conscious death type state. There's no feeling, there's no consciousness there, and that will respond to anything. It's just just a little slight level of energy and conscious there to stop rigor mortis from coming in. So you feel the heaviness of that part of the body, and yet you are detached from it. And as you move Kundalini up higher again, those lower regions that you remove Kundalini from goes into a conscious state of death. Even the heart stops as you move it past the heart. But at the same time, you are open up to higher states of awareness and consciousness that is totally unimaginable to your present state of consciousness. And you see many things and see many patterns and techniques, and you understand many things of how to properly utilize all the bodies of the soul. So it is it's almost indescribable, but that's just one aspect of it. I hope that answers your question.
What is the heat I feel in my back that rises? How do I know at what point it reaches, and what can I expect to happen when it moves?
The heat, if you feel in heat, it's probably is not associated to you consciously moving Kundalini. Kundalini already unconsciously moves through your body, but maybe a very small percentage of it. And that's how you are obtaining consciousness now. The rise of Kundalini is when you fully rise Kundalini is when you have gained concentration, contemplation, and then meditation, where you can physically move the energies in the body with your higher consciousness can direct and move all the energy in the body to concentrate itself and move through the Shushumna, which is the middle of the spine, and push all this energy there in order to awaken the chakras. That's what you're doing when you raise Kundalini. You're using it to awaken the chakras. And how you awaken the chakras is you do a meditation on the petals of the chakras. And when you do the meditation on the petals of the chakras, you unlock the chakras and you open the chakras to the all-knowledge space. And this is done with extreme concentration, contemplation, and meditation. So you become one with the energy flow. You become one with the mind energy in the body. You become one with all the cellular structure within the body, even the atomic structure of the body. And you rest part of it and activate another part of it. That's the rise of Kundalini. And it's no mistaking to those actions.
What would make Kundalini rise spontaneously?
The person's karmic position probably allow that to happen. But even if that happened, there was much preparation done to have that spontaneous rise. And the majority of times, the spontaneous rise is not a full rise of Kundalini. It might be a partial rise to prepare that person for the coming of the full rise.
So 8 limbs of yoga and 7 chakras, right? Does specific yoga practices help with specific chakra levels or help raise Kundalini? For example, does Raja Yoga help with the characteristics of the heart chakra?
No, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's not like that. No. Most of the yogas are a combination of other yogas. And like Raja Yoga is a combination of several different yogas. So, but what Raja Yoga does, it mostly focus on giving you a roadmap to the rise of Kundalini through mental and some physical preparation. And it uses the yogas of Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Bhatha Yoga, and Mantra Yoga, and Mudra Yoga in order to accomplish those things. And it uses Kriya Yoga as well. So it's most of the yogas is a combination. When you do a deep study of the 8 limbs of yoga, you will see all those yogas being applied in Raja Yoga. So it's not like that. It's mostly preparation to allow you to get to a level where you can properly concentrate on the nadi and chakra system. To do this prematurely, you can hurt yourself.
Okay. He said, yeah, they only feel the heat when they do pranayama, the heat going up and down the back. We're just kind of getting more clarification on that question.
Well, I mean, that's just, there again, that's just preparation. It's not a rise of Kundalini, it's a manipulation of the existing Kundalini.
So how will I know when I assume Kundalini, how will I know when Kundalini rises?
When you consciously rise it. You have to go through the development steps. I constantly go and listen to my lectures on the 8 limbs of yoga. You know, so that's how you would know. Go back and listen to the 8 limbs of yoga. Go back and listen to the serpent power tapes. I give clear definitions and a clear pathway of doing this, of being able to rise it. Because there's much preparation that needs to be done, which most people don't want to do.
So what does it feel like? I think you answered that. What does Kundalini rising feel like? I think you answered that.
Yeah, I answered it, yeah.
Nima, I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so on your diagram, where it says you're mapping out the 10 senses and 10 sense organs,
Mhm.
So you have the sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, right?
Mhm.
So we know that embodied consciousness begins at the throat center, correct?
Yeah, that's when it's all locked in.
So would you say it's a contradiction if the organs of perception that actually creates the illusion is all located in the head, which is physically above that center?
What you mean?
Like, you know, the body sometimes is a reflection, right? Of the process that's going on that psychically. So if you look at the eyes, ears, nose, and throat, and all of that, and lips, you know, all of that is literally above the it's above your shoulder, it's above the neck, so to speak. It's located in the head. But as far as but those organs of sense or sense organs, you know, they're what gives us our consciousness, so to speak, at least in this world, in this physical body. But it's physically above the center that's responsible for embodied consciousness. So is that something of a contradiction?
No, because the energy of the throat chakra moves. It moves where? It moves up into the head, down through the arms, into the hands and fingertips, and it moves down through the legs, down to the foot, and through the toes of the foot. That energy, that's the pattern that it travels. So when you study the nadis, you'll notice that they name 14 nadis. And those 14 nadis, you'll notice that those 14 nadis travel up from the spine. Up from the sex center and the root center, or the Muladhara chakra, and it travels up to the throat, the lips, the tongue, the ears, the eyes, the nose, and to the fingers and toes. So it shows now. Of course, there's over 200,000 pathways of the nadis, but the yogis list at least 14 major pathways, and then they list 3 types of nadis that make up those pathways. You know, and then they list 3 types of chakras that these nadi pathways move through in order to create their nadi knots. So, but in doing that, they map out the conscious, the lower conscious centers, the mid conscious centers, and the higher conscious centers of basic man in doing that.
Okay, so then when you say the 14 now, the 3 that people are familiar with that run up the spine, are you saying they're more of, those 3 are, at least in name, either Pingala and Shoshana, which is positive, negative, and neutral. You say that's more of a type, a description, a type of nadi, separate from the 14 actual pathways themselves.
Right. So you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's, it's not, you can't look at the origin and think that everything's coming from there, because it's not. It's just like the Vijnana prana. The Vijnana prana circulates throughout the whole body. So even though it enters it's the central location of its entry is the sex center, but it resides, it actually resides or rotate around the whole body. You know, so it's activity because it helps to carry consciousness.
Right. So so we look at this. If we look at the throat center as a center of power, a vortex center, a center of consciousness, a plane of existence, the energies that enter and are regulated by that center, you say, even though that's the entry point, it kind of feeds and goes up into the sense organs and then down to other parts of the body.
Yeah, because it's an akasa type, akasa mahabhuta type energy. You know, it's because it's a carrying agent.
Okay.
You know, and the carrying agent also expresses states of consciousness.
Can pranayama be used in combination to project energy?
Of course. You got to go back and listen to our tapes, our lecture tapes. We give a lecture tape on prayer. And in that lecture tape, we describe how pranayama is used to help project the energy.
All right, so Nehemiah, on that last page, same diagram where you have the, I guess you have the 4 stages of not evolution, but involution of the auric field, right? So the first one is all violet. And that clearly looks to me like the spirit contained within the soul. Is that correct?
Which last page?
It's the diagram called additional diagram, and it's the last page after you explain the flow of the nadis in the head and the head centers.
What is the mystic makeup?
Yeah, mystic makeup of sensory perception.
Uh-huh.
Right. So the first one is the spirit contained within the soul, correct? Yes, no?
No. It's the soul. You know, I stated right there, the soul creates the auric field of substance that process a state of all awareness.
Right. So the next diagram, the blue part, is that is the mental body, correct?
Yeah, the soul creates a limited mental state of consciousness, a series of limited sensory reception, yes.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure.
I understand this. What I don't have on here, do I have on here? See, spirit is unmanifested because spirit had no beginning. But what I don't put on here, I don't know if I wrote it here, but the soul, the soul essentially does what the spirit does. It copies the spirit in the sense that the soul creates the original part of the soul stationary itself, and then it creates another part of itself that moves out in order to create movement and action.
Manifest versus unmanifest, correct?
Yeah, and then that part moves out to create what's called the vehicles of expression. And that's how we have the many different aspects of ourselves. And the original stationary part is that part that can pull on the infinite. You know, that endless potential of the spirit and God, the absolute.
Right, but that process repeats itself all throughout creation. There's always going to be a static, non-moving element to all things that's connected directly to the all.
Always. And the yogis realized that 1,000 years ago. If you come to a door, right? If you come to a door, you'll notice that the frame is stationary, but the door swings or slides. There's always a stationary position that allows the position of action. And everything is always like that. So if you come to a receptacle in the wall, you have the receptacle that's stationary, but the electrons travel where? Through the wires. And if it wasn't stationary and if it wasn't grounded, you can have no movement. So in creation, that's always the case. In manifestation, that's always the case. You always need that stationary and then the activity.
You said in manifestation, it's also the case. Does that same hold true for visualization and manifestation? Like if I were to try to materialize something I was visualizing, would I have to do that from a position of stillness, so to say?
Yeah, you have to. That's the only way you can do it. You center yourself. You create what you trying to manifest, and then you release what you're trying to manifest into the atmosphere so that it can take shape. But it must be able to pull on a framework, and the framework is you, the creator of that mental manifestation and vital energy. So and then you also it's not only the nanny, the karma, the mind, but it's also the love, which is the preservative power to make it stay in manifestation.
You said vital energy. Does that mean whatever I'm materializing is going to pull from my kundalini, or?
Well, if you want to say it like that, your kundalini is a vehicle of consciousness. And so it's pulling from you the being, the soul, the higher self, the superconscious, the superconscious, the conscious mind under control, and the subconscious mind under control of the super and superconscious mind.
So let's say I want to visualize and materialize something simple, like a pencil, for example. I can create the end of it.
First, start off with a situation.
Okay.
Because to make it more realistic, let's say if you want to meet a person,
okay,
create the environmental conditions to meet that person without placing any force on that person. You understand? You don't want to make them come to a certain spot, but you can create a favorable place. If you study that person, you can create a favorable place in your mind and then create that favorable place in reality, and then you and that person will meet up in that favorable place under those right conditions. That's visualization. That's the power of visualization. And later, once you can learn to do that and with multiple things, then you can go to manifesting a pencil,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
that's a part of contemplation and meditation.
But this person that you're talking about, is the person a real person that you already know, or does this person somebody?
It could be a person you know, or it can be a person you don't know. But you will have to study the person in order to create you will have to learn something about that person in order to create those favorable places, that favorable atmosphere that you want to manifest to allow their auric body, karmic position to navigate there. You understand what I'm saying now?
Yeah. So if I wanted to meet a guru, right?
Well, what you said?
So if I wanted to meet a guru, right?
Mm-hmm.
To dedicate myself to spiritual development. Am I visualizing my own personal image of a guru and my relationship to this person, or am I have already identified an actual guru and I say I want to meet that person, so let me see how I'm gonna do it?
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. You can create that in your mind. You don't have to know who you're going to meet, but you can create the personality that you're looking for out of that guru, and push that out into the atmosphere. And if you put enough energy behind it, you will be able to meet that person.
Okay.
But you have to be prepared for the outcome to meeting that person too.
Why you saying like that?
Because it's a problem. I mean, most gurus, when they meet a person, their next action, whether they will fully teach or educate that person to the max, is dependent on that person.
That first contact with that person.
Yeah, because they look and they can know exactly how far that person's going to go, and are they prepared to go anywhere? So that's but if you just want to meet a regular person, then you can test that out, and it works. It works.
Yeah, Bernard's talking about meeting a guru, and I'm over here thinking about meeting a wife. So we're completely different states of mind. Huh? All right, Zai, I see your hand is raised. Go ahead and ask your question.
Good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. And so I don't particularly have a question. What I plan on doing is mostly sharing my understanding of the volume 1 of the treatise on the 7 rays, and just hoping that if I'm going off on any, if my understanding isn't correct, or it's missing or lacking, that I can gain guidance around that. And so I'm at the point in volume 1 where she basically states that we're at a moment where we're being pushed to all realize that we're all one, and that in this moment right now, the thing that we should all be doing is moving towards just being in service, but as great a service that you can. So she mentions things such as, like, if you have energy, if you have money, but your voice is, you're not a person that can speak out to the public to help usher that new change, giving to people and helping people realize that we're all one is probably one of the best things you can do. And so in that, I want to go back a little bit more when she speaks about, so our solar system and it having 10 planets, but 7 of those planets, including the moon, is from the 7 rays. But within that's from our solar system, there's also another 7, or our solar system is part of 7 solar systems, which I'm assuming is connected to a greater sun. But there's an connectedness between all these solar systems, and within those 7 solar systems, those represent the 7 rays, but all those rays basically govern particular characteristics of humans. Even though we are all one, they still govern those particular characteristics on who we are or how we operate and what our mission is supposed to be, as far as helping us all move towards a I guess, move towards the Almighty. But even in the aspect of the 7 solar systems with the greatest sun, there's a larger constellation system of 12. So we have the minor, like Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, but there's also a larger system that those 7 solar systems operate under, a larger system of constellations, and that it takes 25,000 years for that great being to circle, to exist within each constellation, is what I'm understanding. So we went from Pisces, now we're in Aquarius. I'm assuming that being is, or us, would move to Capricorn after that. And so I guess what that's doing for me, and I'm sure it's doing a lot more than what I understand, but the more I read, the more it's just broadening my perspective on how large, I think she terms it as that which we will not speak of, how large, how great that is. And one of the things that ties to that is, she mentions the life which expresses itself through 7 planetary centers, and this is a quote, but it says, the life which expresses itself through 7 planetary centers or continents. So planetary centers are considered continents, but Earth also has 7 continents. So are the 7 continents on Earth tied to the 7 rays?
That's a question.
Yes.
Okay, that's Alice Bailey, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Alice Bailey, she went a long way to explain stuff, and sometimes she got it dead on, and sometimes she made it more complicated to understand.
Okay.
Not that she was absolutely wrong. I tell you, there's a simple book that you can read, and I think you need to read that book and then come back to Alice Bailey.
Okay.
And the book is The 9 Freedoms.
Okay.
By Dr. George King. Do you have that book?
I think that book might be one of the ones I downloaded. I haven't read it yet. No.
Yeah, read it.
Okay.
Read it. Another book he wrote was, and it's a quick read too. Yes. You're not going to understand everything in it, but then you can begin to connect the dots. Because what he does, he's quick and fast and simple to the explanation, and then it makes sense when you go back to the ancient teachings. You begin to understand the ancient teachings a little bit better. And what she's describing is what she's trying to interpret from the ancient teachings, and mainly from the masters that they spoke through her. That was very limited. There was very limited type language that they had at that time, and technology, and they really couldn't explain things. Because the stuff was much more complicated than what was out there on the mind belt at the time. Also, You Are Responsible. There's a book he wrote on called You Are Responsible. That helps, that adds to it. And then multiple volumes of The Cosmic Voice. If you read through that, you'll see, and it gives clear, definite understanding. Because with a lot of the adepts that came and spoke through, that came and gave us the messages from the spiritual hierarchy of the earth and the cosmic masters, they were limited in their expression because of the timetable. Now, understand that our sun has multiple bodies in this solar system. But when we look up into the sky, we only see one aspect of it for this realm of existence. The planets in the solar system the bodies of the planets in the solar system. There's probably, I don't know, over 100 planets and moons in this solar system. And scientists know that now.
Right.
But then there's multiple levels of realms of existence within the solar system that the sun serves. So, those things that she couldn't properly explain, but she did it through the 7 rays. Not only her, Annie Besant did it, Madame Blavatsky did it, but when it all breaks down to it, I think the ancient teachings kind of make it simple. If you had modern technology, if you add modern technology to it today, the little bit of modern technology we have today.
Yeah.
And they describe the sun, then they describe the Tavic rays, and those Tavic rays they make up the realms of existence of all the realms within the solar system, or at least within our Earth and Moon.
Okay.
So they break up and they move into different levels of the 6 chakras, and then they also break up and move into different levels of the 1,000 petals of the crown chakra, and there's 360 rays that hit the earth, and each ray is a realm of existence.
Right.
But each ray creates multiple realms of existence, or 1 or 2 realms of existence. So that makes more sense. And then when you come back to science, you come back to science on any realm of existence you want to go to,
yeah.
you can begin to understand these Tava rays or Tavic rays, and you begin to understand the combination of them. Whether it's a combination of 108 that's moving through the chakras, or 360 rays that's moving through the body, and then 360 times 3, or 360 times 7, or 360 times 9, and you begin to understand why it's like that.
Okay.
And it's not. What she did, she mixed it with the zodiac signs, which is nothing wrong with that. But if you go back to the original yoke and the ages of the yoke, it makes more sense than when you do it. That's like a 9-week class really to go into all of this. I think I did some lectures on that a while back. Did we record those lectures, Dwayne?
I think we did some on Madame Blavatsky, the secret doctrines. I think we talked about going into Alice Bailey, but we didn't make it into it.
I did Alice Bailey a number of times, but I don't know if we recorded all of it.
Okay.
But I did go into the yokes or the ages, right?
Yes. There are classes when you talk about the yogas.
Yeah, because it makes more sense. It's more understandable. Not saying that Alice Bailey, because Alice Bailey is very advanced, but it's the time that she was given this information at the turn of the century, and then she was given it from a European type expression to an audience that wasn't actually ready for all of that. Okay. But the Tibetan that was speaking through her was trying to get them prepared for those teachings.
Okay. So read the 9 freedoms and wait. So when you you're saying though, because I know in the time that I've been studying under you that we've gone through a lot about the Tavic rays, and so you're saying that those essentially are the same as the 7 rays that she speaks of.
That's where the 7 rays are coming from.
Ah, okay.
Because remember we live by the grace of the gods.
Right.
The 7 rays is the expression of what? Of the Vishnu, right? Of the sun, right?
Right.
So the 9 freedoms kind of break that down for you.
Okay.
That and without all the mystery and all that, it tells you that everything is solidified light. It speaks to you of where we are and where we gotta go, and how one day we will become we will position ourselves in at the sun, and we will sustain all life in the solar system, and eventually the galaxy. So, but if you got to read it, I don't want to confuse you. You got to read it, and then it'll make sense of what she's talking about.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
A couple of questions here. So if a yogi stops speaking, is it safe to say that they've reached the throat chakra, or is it a manipulation of karma? For example, Osho Rajneesh stopped speaking for 4 years. Says, he continues, he created a favorable place, but everything unraveled after he spoke negatively, which invited the law to review him. He then stopped speaking once he moved back to India.
No, I'm not talking about that. That's not the same. He's talking about you're talking about the yogi from that Rama Yoga, that Swami Rama spoke about, right? Is that what he's talking about?
I'm not sure if it's the same person. Osho Rajneesh.
I think Swami Rama mentioned him, but he stopped speaking for a reason, in order to correct some negative karma that he had built up over years. Because remember, every action is energy and mind. Energy cannot express itself without the combination of mind and without the combination of intelligence. Because the chitta energy is molded into manas, which is the expression of energy from man's consciousness. And it molds and shapes energy, and that's how we have the multiple actions. Now, the Tava rays is the pattern of those modes of action, which we pull our personality out of. So if we control one part of it, then what we're doing, we're controlling, we gain control over another part of the energy more than what the next person may do. Like it's just like if we gain control over our mind, then we gain control over the elements around us as well. When man was able to stop moving around like restless animals and start thinking and looking at everything around him, he became self-aware. And then he was able to control fire. He realized what water was about. He realized the importance of oxygen. He realized what carbon dioxide was. He realized all these different things, and he was able to build in a favorable environment for himself. So that's all that is.
What should I expect on my path being a Virgo mystic?
It depends on what you put into it. You know, I'm a Virgo, so you got to work hard. You gotta you got to put work behind everything you go to do. That's how things come about. You got to discipline yourself.
I guess he's asking if there's any one particular sign in the zodiac that gives you an advantage.
Well, not really, no. I wouldn't say so. I would say it's what you put into it. Maybe certain signs give you a greater access to certain type of vibrational energy, but it's not going to put you head and heels over anybody else. It's your work, it's your application.
Okay, Jack, are you currently logged in? I don't see his name here. Oh. Jack, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Okay. I saw that you had emailed a question. Would you be okay if I asked Nehemiah to answer it here, or would you prefer a response via email?
No, that's fine, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So the question you had asked was regarding practice for the new moon. Would you be able to give the practices for the full moon and for the new moon?
I thought I answered that last week. Did I answer that last week?
You said if you emailed directly, then they would give the exact practices for the...
Okay, I'll do that. I was tied up this week.
Okay.
Oh, no worries.
And so there's a second question you had asked. So would you be able to clarify why the breakup of consciousness happens after astral existence? The missions of the adepts would not have been necessary, and much of the bad stuff that goes on in our world would not happen if this happened the other way around. Maybe you can help me see the logic.
Did I say it happened after what? After what? You said
after astral existence.
It doesn't necessarily happen after astral, because it can happen either or. If I did say that, I misunderstood what he was talking about. In other words, if a Hitler died, if a Hitler type character died, his consciousness would be split up immediately once he died to go to the other realm. When he goes through the hall of self-judgment, his consciousness will be split up. When he go to the soul slum and then to the hall of self-judgment, his consciousness will be split up into many parts so that he cannot repeat those type of actions where he put to death millions of people. People who do stuff like that, they trigger a conscious separation, and they mold and shape their lives for the next 50 to 100 lives when they commit crimes like that.
Okay, yes, that makes sense. So I just confused because last time you did say Hitler would be cut up after astral existence. So yeah, I was reading from Dr. King that there are schools of black magic on the lower astral realms. So as above, as below. So yes, must be.
Of course, most of the inventions and most of the craziness that the negative inventions and crazy stuff that scientists marvel in here actually came from the lower astral realms.
Really?
Those things that seem to create convenience and make us a little soft and have us to pay more attention in it than doing productive things that can move society along. Most of those inventions came from the lower astral realms.
Really?
Right.
I want to ask one other question because I was listening to the Levels of Consciousness lecture, the Realms of the Masters, and Dr. King explains about astral projection, how the higher realms is just above the eyesight, and the lower realms are just below the solar plexus, and that when you look at them, they're very flat, perfectly flat, and it's only when you slide onto them that you can see the levels, the cliffs and the mountains or whatever, comes 3D. So how does that work when you project astrally? You see the level in front of you and you slide towards it and you exit the body, or?
I didn't experience it like that, although I understand why he would say that, but I didn't experience it like that. What I experienced, it looks like a screen, like a television screen, like a 2D or something, and then you walk into it and it all comes alive. It comes, this realer than 3D or whatever,
Okay.
But I think he experienced it like that because of his level of consciousness. In other words, some people, they are so awake and so consciousness that they view every aspect of the separation. See what I'm saying? The conscious.
Yeah, or maybe I misheard then. Maybe what you're saying is right.
No, what he's saying is true.
Huh.
That it's just that everybody doesn't experience that because he's aware of the split. If you ask most people about the split, when they split from the body, most people can't explain that. And if they did, they may have experienced it a few times.
Okay.
But they couldn't explain it. Like it's just like if you're standing here and you're looking at a television, you can't walk through that television, right? It doesn't look real. But on the astral realms, you have these screens, these portals that look like televisions that you can see on the other side. But then when you walk into it, it's not this 2D or it's not a flat screen anymore, as he was explaining, is real. But what he was able to do from his conscious perspective, he was able to bring himself into that high level of consciousness and denote everything right then. He didn't have to step out of the body and then walk into the screen. He just went right into the screen, which shows the level of concentration and power he had behind his projection.
Sure, incredible.
Which is rare. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Just one last question then, because you mentioned there about inventions from the lower realms that have come here, and I know there's many. There's another world there with cities and so there must be cultures. So as a musician myself, as a songwriter, do you think if I was able to project, I could go to other realms and listen to the radio and listen to songs and bring them back here, or can you get other information? I mean, or do you know the names of the capital cities there, or is other? How much can you? Is it stable information that you can bring back, or? if that makes sense.
I tried doing it. I wasn't successful. I mean, I know the technology, but I couldn't do it. But I mean, that's all common. But most of what they have there, we have here, is they just a little bit above us in technology in most cases.
But is there, music and TV programs that people could go and copy? And
I'm sure it is. I didn't really investigate none of that on my part, but yeah, it is. It's kind of different though. It's the screens and everything is a little bit different than what we have here. What's a good make of it of Minority Report? You ever seen that?
yeah,
You notice how the screens just pop up?
yeah,
It's created with light or something like that.
okay.
It's not necessarily the physical screen or whatever. Although it is physical, it's physical light.
And is there like the names of cities or are there newspapers, or I'm just trying to picture it because.
Yeah, it's the same way it is here. It's the same way it is here, but I don't know about the newspapers or whatever, because just like we have moved away from newspaper, although there's still some newspaper. I'm talking about majority of magazines and newspapers are online, not actually physical anymore.
Okay.
That happened a long time ago over there.
Okay.
I mean, to me, it's best not to be fascinated with that.
No, but I just this parallel world that that we go to and we come back from, and just to picture it would be, I don't know, would just be kind of helpful.
Yeah, you get caught up over there and lose a lot of time here.
I guess so. Okay.
So.
Here's where it's not going on. Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
What is the difference between consciousness and super consciousness?
You have a conscious mind, and then you have a subconscious mind, and then you have a super conscious mind, then you have a supra-conscious mind. So the difference is that a conscious mind is what you're using right now and you're aware of. And depending on how you have strengthened your conscious mind will depend on your access to the subconscious mind and the superconscious mind. That's one of the main differences right there. Your subconscious mind is that part of your mind that records all things in all life cycles, and they take care of all bodily functions on all levels of existence, of the soul's expression. It's almost like a battery or a devic laboratory or a devic machine that makes sure that everything is carried out according to the devic laboratory, which is the aura itself. And then you have the superconscious mind, which is the higher part of the mind, which gives direction to the conscious and subconscious, to the subconscious and conscious mind, which is the greater Devatar within you. And then you have the superconscious mind, which is that auric conscious existence of the soul itself, the auric body or the soul managing everything. I hope that explains it.
Is the super consciousness wrapped around the soul only? Does our subconscious have the connection to the superconscious, or is it a goal to reach a level of understanding that becomes superconscious?
The superconscious mind is in every aspect of the body. It's like the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the background functioning power of consciousness, and the superconscious mind is the background power of for the conscious mind and the superconscious mind. And then the superconscious mind is the background power for all consciousness.
When you die and come back again to Earth, do you pick up where you left off from the last life?
If you haven't advanced on the other side, yeah, you would. But when you leave this physical realm and you go to the astral realm, you may make some advancement. So you may throw a lot of stuff aside, and when you come back to the physical realm, you might be much higher than or a little bit higher than where you were before in the past life. If not, then you take up where you left off at.
Can you achieve ascension on the other realms, or can that only be achieved here, this gross physical plane?
We hear about ascension happening on this ground zero level, which is the physical realm, because you need a combination of physical matter along with astral and etheric matter in order to ascend, to our understanding.
Okay, so in order to break up the body and form it into a risen body, you have to have a physical or a gross physical body to do that.
Yeah, not a risen body, but an ascended body.
Ascended body. Okay, let's see. Would the superconscious mind be our intuition?
The superconscious mind is more than your intuition. The intuition comes from the higher self, which is part of the superconscious mind.
How can you advance yourself in the astral realm?
The same way you do here, the same procedure.
I recall you stating a few times that there people across the realms attend classes.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so it's let's see. When my body goes numb when trying to astral project, does this mean I am close to projecting?
I don't know. I never felt that. But it's just a feeling. It's a different feeling for a lot of people. So it could be. I mean,
I felt my body get heavy when I'm about to step out, but not numb.
I just feel myself leaving. That's all. But I am aware of both bodies.
Mm-hmm. See, we're approaching the 2-hour mark, and
Hey, Nima, I just got one more summary based upon your Da Vinci Man. I just correct me if I'm off about any of this. So we know that there's always has to be a subject and an object, a manifest and unmanifest, part that's static, never moves, one that's all moving and dynamic. So the spirit we know is unmanifest. It starts off at 0, and that's why you purposely place it there. It is truly unmanifest, but we're here, so clearly something has happened. So now the spirit took a part of itself, involuted it, and hence we have manifestation, and that part moves against itself. But in order to repeat the process, the part that it manifested of itself, that part becomes, in essence, soul. It's what's manifest. But the soul then repeats the same process of making a part of itself static, non-moving, and part of itself dynamic. So even though the soul is what's manifested with respect to the spirit, as you go further into involution, that part of the soul now takes a part of itself and manifests that part of itself so that it can become the thing that's moved against. It can become the all. Now, the part that it's moving against the soul, that essentially, I mean, because it's done through pulling on Shakti. So the part now that replicates that process between subject and object, or static and dynamic, is now this auric body, this all knowledge, all field, all knowing field and space that contains all things. But in order for that to replicate the process, that part of us, the auric body, now becomes, in a sense, that unmanifested part. And then the Kundalini, which is really the Shakti power that was pulled on in number 2, becomes the part that's manifest. Correct?
You looking at the mystic constitution chart?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the process that's replicated, because as you go down, you know, you go down and you look back up. So as you go down, the part that's manifest becomes unmanifested if you look back up, if you look back at yourself, so to speak.
Yeah, but you have the soul, the way I have it on number 1, right?
Yeah.
You have the soul pulling on the Shakti. And then you have the manifestation of the auric body, which is indestructible. And then the auric body becomes that background source that can pull on the endless potential of the Shakti and the soul and the spirit. And then it locks itself into the stream, the chakra system, which is a stream of consciousness of the solar system, which is again, who was that speaking about the 7 rays?
that was Zai. He was asking.
Which the chakra system represents the 7 rays. See, because why? Where does all the atomic matter flow through?
It flows through the status, through the nadis.
Yeah. So what the auric body does, it pulls on these 7 rays of the chakra, and then it becomes a cosmic body, which is a body of the universe. So it allows it to be able to exist anywhere in the universe. And because it can fit on anything, it can go anywhere. It has the conscience of the universe. And then it shapes the Shakti power into a vehicle of consciousness called the Kundalini.
Right. So the Kundalini now becomes the thing that moves. It's the thing that manifests. It's the animating force. But then when Kundalini comes to rest, Kundalini then replicates that same process. It takes a part of itself. It becomes absolutely static, base of the spine, doesn't move. And then that 10% that gives us life, so to speak, that becomes the part that's quote unquote manifest, the part that's moved, the parts that
That's the Nadi. That's the Nadi system. That becomes the Nadi system.
Correct. Okay. So okay, I got you.
So and remember, when the Kundalini is completely formed in the ancient teachings, it says what? It says, and it reveals Shiva, and the whole becomes not whole. So that tells you that it turns into and then it releases the sound, and the nadis is traveling energy and sound. That's how nadis are described. It's a traveling flow of energy that's flowing from the Kundalini, or they call it the celestial, the goddess. The celestial sounds is coming from the goddess of Kundalini. And then that's how the mental bodies are formed. And then the mental bodies pull on, again, it's doing the process over here of pulling on Shakti, it pulls on prana, which is the prana that's flowing from the sun or the earth and the moon. And then it forms the etheric body, the astral body, the physical body.
Right.
It makes sense to you?
No, it made perfect sense. It's just that, as you go from 0 to 11, starting from, if you go from, I guess that's counterclockwise, it's just that as you go around that circle and you look, I guess the process kind of flips on itself as you look back. So if you go from spirit to soul, the spirit is unmanifest, the soul is manifest. But as you go from soul to auric body, the auric body becomes the manifest, the soul is unmanifest, and vice versa, all the way around the clock, so to speak. And I guess within the chakra system, the all knowledge space, the bindu that's at the center of the chakra, visually speaking, is the part that doesn't move, and then the petals is the part that's manifest.
Like I said, stationary and active.
All right, that was my only question / clarification.
Okay, so I think we'll move on from this chakras and vortex centers diagram. If you have any questions about it after you reviewed it, you can feel free to ask them. But I know in many other classes we've gone into the petals, the topic graves, including today, the granting knots and everything. Everything here has been touched on many times in previous classes. So feel free to watch those and review these handouts and come back with your questions. I think next time we'll look at chakra system levels of consciousness and its formation. So this is page number 4. We'll go through this one, and then I believe we'll go into the mystic constitution, because there's several questions about that as well. Let's see, are there any final questions before we close out? Let's see. What method do you use to astral project step by step? Oh, come on, Breland.
I favor the yogic method, as I said a couple weeks ago. Find a yogic method, and that is yama and nayama. Control all your thoughts and actions, and then move to place God in the control of all your thoughts and actions, and then move to the seats of power and the pranayama in order to take on those type of things. And you'll have much success because you have burnt up a lot of negative karma by doing that.
Hey everyone, in the chat, I posted a link to our meetup. Please remember to sign up there so you can be included on our announcement and have access to some of the resources we make available. Are there any final questions? If not, okay, if there are no final questions, we'll go ahead and close out for today. As one final announcement, anyone, if you have any type of web editing or content creation skills and would like to volunteer, please reach out to me. Okay, let's go ahead and close out. Oh, not that one. This one. The new Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. Oh, great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you as always.
Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.